Hey guys, Jesse here, and welcome to part 6 of my perfect grade RX78-2 work in progress / review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the weapons / accessories, which are just what you see here basically. So let's go ahead and start off. So let's start with the simplest of them, the beam sabers. And these of course are extremely simple. It's two pieces together with a sort of ball jointed peg and then two caps. So it's a really simple build, of course, in comparison to the rest of the kit. But what does kind of suck is that these are two pieces that snap together, so you'll have to fix a seam line on two sides. Really easy though. I mean, this is just a cylindrical piece, so it should be the simplest of seam lines to fix. Yeah, interestingly, this peg is a ball joint, and it's actually really hard to get out. You'll need a tool of some sort, and I actually snapped the other one on here. I won't be using the beam sabers to display. I won't be displaying the Gundam holding the beam sabers, so it's not really a big deal to me. I'm not sure why I pushed it back in, since I'm going to show how they look like on the hand. But in any case, yeah, and I'll show how these go in the hand in a second. But yeah, that thing's kind of stiff. It's supposed to come out some more, but I don't want to risk snapping it. In any case, you get two beam saber effect parts, and they're both identical, so I'm just going to show you one. Yeah, really huge. Interestingly enough, these are, I believe, the same beam sabers that come with the master grade double Zeta full armor, or just regular double Zeta. Kind of gives you a perspective of how huge the beam sabers on the double Zeta are, but those just plug in really easily. And let's bring in the Gundam here. Now, the hands on the perfect grade have two holes, and your beam saber is going to plug in to the upper hole, and then he can just hold that just fine. So never letting go of it. It's a very strong connection, and it only uses one peg. So there's that. And let me just put this peg back down. And then they plug into the backpack up here. So let me just plug those in. And it's kind of a tight connection, but it's not bad. And there you go. And these sit on ball joints, so you can move those around any which way you want. So those are beam sabers. Really simple, but I'm glad that the Gundam holds on to them securely. Let's move on to the beam rifle. So here it is. Really, really nice beam rifle. I really like the proportions and look of this thing. Only problem I have with it is the construction. These two are two large pieces that snap together, and this is two large pieces that snap together, and this handle is two pieces that snap together, and that's it. The problem with this is that, yeah, there's seam lines like that just plague this thing. I was able to clean almost all of them up, but the real bad one that you should make an effort to clean up is the one that goes across this nice inner detail. But it's very difficult because it's over a lot of raised edges. As you can see, this is part of the opening gimmick. Usually it's closed like this, but you can pull on the back here and then open it up. It tabs into that little recess in there, and it has two tabs. I suggest shaving down those tabs a bit, as the first time I did this, it took me a long time to unsnap it, and I realized that the pegs in here are quite long, so I would shave those down to make opening and closing this easier. As you can see, I put a decal here, and there's a nice decal here that says beam rifle and some information. Now, they actually don't give you a marking guide for anything, like any of these accessories. They only give you a marking guide for the core fighter and the suit itself. So this is sort of a free-for-all in terms of what decals you want to go on this. I just figured that one belongs in there because it says beam rifle, and I had an extra EF Space Force decal, and I thought it was just a nice trimming. Anyways, you can see very nice inner detail here. There's a nice cable here. Looks like a generator down here and some sort of generator up here. Yeah, it's just really nice molded detail. This all comes in the same gray as the hands on the RX-78-2, but I repainted this silver, then all my weathering and hand painting, and then repainted all this a gunmetal gray metallic. So this is not the color it comes in. Also repainted the scope a Inca gold. So the color here on this whole beam rifle is completely different than what you'd actually get it in. So yeah, this hinge is here to open it up. Scope moves with really nice resistance, actually. It doesn't feel loose or too tight. And the handle, of course, moves. Secondary handle. And the way this holds on is you can only hold in the right hand with the tab. You can get in the left hand, but then it's just holding it by friction. There's a tab here. Now I'm going to do this and possibly keep it open for the rest of this kit because it is very difficult to get this tab out. So I suggest that if you plan to display with the beam saber in hand, or beam rifle in hand, excuse me, to keep that tab always open because it is very difficult to get it out of there. Again, they only can fit in the right hand, but they do have that molded detail. So yeah, and what will happen here is that, like I mentioned, there's two peg holes in the hand, and this is going to peg into the lower peg hole. If I can get it. There we go. And he's going to hold it just fine, and you can feed the finger through the trigger and close it up and stuff, but he will hold the beam rifle just fine. Super secure, never going to be dropping it. Something I forgot to mention about the beam rifle when I was talking about it during the original video is that it does have the tab to attach to the back of the skirt armor. I can't get my skirt armor back piece open, but that is the peg you'll be using. It's only on the right side of the beam rifle, so you're only going to be attaching it this way. It does have the molded detail on the other side, but it doesn't flip up. Alright, so let me get that out of his hand so it makes it a little easier to just show off the shield. Alright, so yeah, let's move on to the biggest part of this kit, or biggest part of the accessories, this shield. This thing's massive. Again, they don't give you marking details, but I really want to use this decal. See if it'll focus. It says remove before fight. I always thought it said remove before flight. Pretty, I don't know, it's pretty amusing, kind of English there, but yeah, I don't know what that means, remove before fight, but decided to just use it because that was funny. Yeah, really huge shield. I mean, look at it. Let's get something to compare it to. Here's a real grade Astray. You can kind of see, yeah, it's basically taller than the real grade Astray. But yeah, cool shield, nicely molded, kind of more blockier than other RX-78-2 shields. The only thing repainted here is this cross. It's repainted Inca gold. But I went ahead and rusted this guy up pretty heavily, as you can see. So you have a handle here, and it's on a ball joint, and it will go up and down along this track. You move it up and down. I'm not going to do it because I have this painted and I have it in the position I want it to be in, but trust me, it moves up and down, and it has a lot of good resistance and friction, so it won't be sliding down on its own. This handle moves up and down, and this actually has two tabs, so it'll be tabbing into both the tabs in whichever arm you decide to put in. There's a little feature here. There's a clear piece here. So you can see it's kind of foggy because I fogged it up. I believe the only other RX-78-2 kit that has a clear piece is the 1 Year War version, and the only other kit that has this feature is the 3.0. So guys, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but there you go. That's sort of its armor opening panel gimmick, is this little blast door that comes up and protects the blast shield. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like double layered protection. But yeah, really nice shield. This is basically one big red piece on one giant white piece, and then the cross, and then this little assembly here. So super easy, super simple setup. So the way this is going to go into the arm is you have two tabs here that go into the forearm, and then the handle that goes into the hand. And easiest way is to feed the handle through the hand first. You don't actually have to put the pegs into the hand, it holds it just fine without it. And then this will just peg into the arm. See, I have the left arm's armor piece, so that black peg hole right there is what this thing pegs onto, and it's super strong. It's never going to drop it. It's actually kind of hard to get off, but yeah, it looks quite good with the shield on, and it's a really good size. I like it a lot. So yeah, overall accessories really good. This beam rifle is excellent, and probably the best looking beam rifle I've seen for an RX-78. Shield's really nice. Beam sabers are beam sabers. I do like that they give you huge beam saber effect parts. But yeah, a little lame that we didn't get absolutely nothing else, like no Gundam hammer, no javelin, but I imagine that would have jacked up the price quite a bit, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. But otherwise, the ones they do give you are very nice. Alright, so in the last video, or in the next video, is going to be my whole review, my sort of conclusion and overall thoughts of the entire kit. So far, yeah, this is definitely something that I recommend picking up, and one of the most fun builds I've ever done in my sort of Gunpla career. Alright, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.